YouTube, what the Total War Rome 2 crap is going on? HeirofCarthage here, back with some online action on Total War Rome 2, which is probably our favorite online action for most of us. Not all of us, but I know a lot of you enjoy this one. And I know that many of you enjoyed the crap out of that replay that Indypride sent me a while back that was him and Oakley versus Maximus and Blade Master. That really was a fantastic match. And he says he's got another good one for me here, and just based off the factions, it does look interesting. It looks like him and Oakley are now on opposite sides of a 2v2, and then Granitor is with Oakley over there, and I've seen his name before. I don't know exactly where, but I have seen him before, and if I want to remember right, he was a good player. And then you got Celtic Fury there, which I do not recognize on Indypride's team. So you got Granitor and Oakley High Def versus Indypride and Celtic Fury. Swaby Egypt on Indypride's side, and then Carthage Massilia on the other side. Definitely interesting factions. Massilia is an interesting faction, kind of a sleeper faction. They're not great, but under certain circumstances they can provide a pretty good wallop. Carthage is kind of one of those middle-of-the-road factions, good in some circumstances, not so good in others. Swaby is kind of your interesting faction too, that can totally chain route everybody, or they can get chain routed depending on the situation. Egypt is an interesting one. That's a tough faction to play with in my opinion, but some people put together some interesting builds with them, so we'll see. Let's watch the replay. Looks like the battle is on the map Mons Regius, which is the one with the little village in the center. I think I recognize this map, so we can see Indypride's army here with 4 Germanic raiders. I like that. Kimbri bowwomen, and then I saw some berserkers, which is always great with the army. Spear levy, great unit to bring with the Germanic armies too. Kimbri bowwomen are a tough choice sometimes, as the Germanic slingers have such a good missile block chance, but the bowwomen can actually kill things. It's kind of the difference between them and the Germanic slingers. Germanic slingers are meant to tank. The bowwomen are meant to actually kill stuff. Like the 4 Germanic scout riders, though, they'll be helpful. I see 3 berserkers over here and a swordmaster. Swordmaster, 2 more berserkers, and another swordmaster. So a very potent sword line. I'm guessing he's going to be using Ariovistus. He is. Yep. So he's got fast charge and pride available as his special abilities. Let's slow it down for a minute, take a look at the army. So over here for Massilia, we got 2 skirmisher cav. Interesting pick. Like I said, Massilia can field a lot of different stuff. Hippeus Lancer Citizen cav. 2 Celtic slingers here. 2 Massilian hoplites, 2 thorax swords. Back here we're going to have 3 axe warriors, 2 Celtic warriors there, 2 more thorax swords, another Massilian hoplite, and then 2 more citizen cav back here. And so again, Massilia is going to be Oakley, if I remember right. And this does look like one of Oakley's setups. He does this a lot, like kind of asymmetrics, little bit disjointed setups, like this big gap here in the center, and I think he does it just to kind of discombobulate his opponents a little bit. They're not really sure what to do. Like, did he mean to leave a big hole in the center, or I don't know. He always does something interesting like that, and I like it. I think it's interesting, spices things up. So, and I think Granitor is over here with Carthage, so let's check out his army. His cavalry is going to be 2 Carthaginian cav there. I see 3 mercenary, or no, let's see, Gallic, 2 Iberian swordsmen and a mercenary Gallic warrior, so he's got some javelins over here. Samnites, that was probably another Samnite. No, yeah, I think it was a Samnite. I know he has at least 2 Samnites. You can only have 3 of them, so he had something else there, possibly a Scutari when I saw the little feathers. So 3 Libyan infantry here, bodyguard, mercenary Scutari cav, and I can see some mercenary Balearic slingers popping up here and here. Chances are he's got 3 of those, and then he's got more units popping up back here that weren't visible, so more Gallic warriors. Nice flank units to help out in cav fights and other stuff. So for Egypt, we got a Ptolemaic cav. Looks like 3 of them there in the back. 3 thorax swords. Interesting pick. A Galatian royal guard in the center. Now we're talking. Galatian swordsman. Looks like we got about 4 pikemen up the center. Yeah, so 2 Galatian swordsmen, 1 Galatian royal guard. So nice representation of the Galatians in that army. And it looks like a couple of Nubian bowmen. Let's go ahead and play it and watch the action. So the 2 Carthaginian cav are going to have support from the Celtic warriors. The Ptolemaic cav is going to have to be careful of that. They could definitely crap on Carthaginian cav head on, but with infantry support that could change. So the Ptolemaic cav want to be careful. Germanic scout riders doing what they do best, just kind of keep an enemy cav at bay. Nice job there. The Kimbri bowwomen are going to have an easy skirmish advantage over Celtic slingers. We'll see whether or not we see Gallic hunters pop up for Oakley. These Spear Levy are going to do a great job of keeping the Citizen Cav at bay, but right there, getting a few shots into the back of the Cambry Bowwomen. They've taken a few losses, nothing severe. Iberian Swordsmen are going to have a lot of javelins, and potentially dangerous to this Spear Levy, actually, so that's a good move. May want to move up this Swordmaster to keep those Iberian swords off. Looks like Massilia is getting a little help from Carthage. Going to push here against Indypride's Swabians. Let's see, kind of a long spread out line here between the Carthaginians and the Egyptians. The Egyptians, not a lot of skirmishing power here with a couple of Nubian bowmen. Nice range. They're going to get some great flank shots into this Iberian swordsman. Unfortunately, it is into the shielded flank, the Iberians. Iberians chucking some javelins, trying to get some cheap kills. Good way to use Iberians. Just kind of see, yeah, a little bit of a push going on from Carthage, more of a fallback going on from Swaby. Massilia is also doing a bit of a push here. Nothing too crazy. It was just a little push right here from this flank. The Cambry Bowwomen are messing up those Celtic Slingers fast, and that would be expected. The Celtic Slingers have a small block chance, not a good one though. Yeah, the Spear Levy are going to have a decent block chance, nothing special, but decent. More Cambry Bowwomen moving up, definitely going to be dangerous for the Slingers. We got some Axe Warriors moving up here. They would do well against the Spear Levy, but they're going to get mowed down by any of these high attack Swaby Swordsmen, in my opinion. Got some Libyan infantry moving around here in spaghetti formation. Two more Libyans. Let's see what he had for swords over here. Samnite, Noble Fighter, and a Samnite. So this is a tanky sword line here with one that has offensive power. Egypt is going to want to be afraid of that. Good idea to have the pikes facing it. He's now lost his Nubian bowman though, and these Balearic Slingers are going to destroy him. He needs to attack. What I would do is a YOLO pike charge, and then back it up with your swordsman for support. And then you would have this little village here to block off your flank. So let's see if he does that. He needs to just YOLO pike charge, put his pikes down, and then follow up with the Galatians, and hold his flank with the thorax swords and cavalry. It's going to be rough, but he doesn't really have much of a choice. If he sits here, the Balearic Slingers are going to work him. The Iberian swordsmen are already doing it. He needs to just go now. So that would be my opinion. The longer he stands around, the more beating he's going to take. So we got an engagement started. Spear Levy holding up multiple units, and it's going to allow the Berserkers and other units to pour in here. So we got a Spear Levy. The Swordmaster is already cranking up the kills. Here comes a Berserker on a frenzied or a fast charge. So all these units coming in with fast charge, going to be a brutal impact over here. Massilian or Citizen Cav coming in on a nice rear charge on the Swordmasters though. I would think this is going to wrap up very quickly in favor of the Swaby. There's a little bit of friendly fire going on for the Swaby, not too bad. It is Rome 2, not Attila. Citizen Cav getting crapped on by the Swordmasters, that's also expected. We got a Mercenary Samnite Warrior coming through. That's going to be a tankier unit, a little bit harder for these Swordmasters to follow up on unless they get a good charge. And it's going to be hard for the Cambry Bowwomen to kill quickly with arrows because it has so much armor and a decent block chance. The Pike's definitely pushing aggressively, allowing the Galatian swords to do what I was hoping that they would. He's going to have to push even more aggressively. The minute these Pikes are dead, the Egyptian player's in a lot of trouble. The Carthaginian Cav getting hammered out here, getting some nice charges on all these Cav units and warriors, but the Ptolemaic Cav's going to have to stay mobile in order to be used effectively. Got Germanic Scout Riders coming all over the flank here. Celtic Slingers going to be in danger. They're going to take some Javelins. I would probably save those Javelins and maybe have just forced them back. They're not going to do a lot of damage to your Scout Riders. This flank is getting wrapped up by the Swaby. This Berserker should be able to tank out that Samnite, who is actually with its back turned taking massive damage to the Bowwomen. Very nicely done by Indypride there. Got a fight over here. Thorax Swords and the Mercenary Noble Fighters. They're going to get wrecked. The support of the Pikemen will help. These pikemen, though, are going to get outflanked. The Egyptian Galatian swordsmen doing a nice job here, though. They can now wrap into the Balearic Slingers, so this is going to be very good for the Egyptian player. The Egyptian player doing okay for himself, though. His Ptolemaic Cav is taking damage over here. Really needs to keep them moving. Prolonged combat with this Scutari Cav is going to be rough. The Ptolemaic Cav is excellent on the charge, but prolonged combat with that plus 15 versus Cav Scutari is going to make things tough. Berserker's just going nuts here. That's actually going to probably work against Indypride, but getting a nice charge here with these Swordmasters. There are other Thorax Swords nearby. These Berserkers are going to get... it's going to be hard to say exactly what's going to happen here just yet. There's still a lot of Massilians on the field, and kind of more limited swords right now for the Germanians over here, but they do have units to hold for the time being. This Berserker Oh, taking some nasty javelins from the skirmisher cav. Very nice shots by Oakley. Excellent work. Berserkers over here assisting and getting rid of the Samnite warriors and noble fighters. That's much needed help. Samnite warriors here are going to tank it out easily over those Galatian swords. The Egyptian Ptolemaic cav is actually winning its fight. The general is still alive. This is good news. So Egypt doing fairly well on their flank. Let's check out this fight here. Thorax swords potentially going to take nasty volleys from these scout riders. Oh, nope, baiting a nice javelin volley out there. Good work by Indypride, making them waste a precursor volley. That could always pay dividends later. These sword masters have gotten a lot of kills. Now going to be getting bogged down by 2 units of thorax swords. They can still tank that out, but it's going to be tough. Another sword master here. Going to have to tank it out against a hoplite. If this hoplite goes into hoplite wall, that's going to be a tough fight for those sword masters. They can do it, but it's going to be costly. Hippeus Lancers here, 187 kills. Nice number of kills there for Oakley. And let's see, just kind of, there's action everywhere. This one's almost kind of hard to keep track of. Berserkers, lots of kills here on these guys. That's very nice for Indypride. Let's check out the Egyptian Carthaginian fight here. Ptolemaic cav now free. This is going to be the game changer. These mercenary Samnite warriors could get hammered here. Though the Ptolemaic cav pulling free and deciding to go after the Balearic slingers, probably not a bad choice. You could kill the Carthaginian general as well. Now being indecisive, so this is not good. You don't want these Balearic slingers to get any more shots than they absolutely have to. Decisive rear charge, and no, it won't be a rear charge. Thorax swords are actually losing, but that charge not going to damage the Libyan infantry too much. That wasn't the best charge. He should have gone after this unit because it was more exposed. Let's see. Massilia doing okay out here, just kind of running around chasing Germanic units. Thorax swords getting killed. The Swabi general, still 100 men left. He has killed a lot of thorax swords, but these were pulled loose. Nice rear charge into these sword masters who are now surrounded. Massilian hoplite taking rear javelin fire though. Excellent work by Indypride here, taking some of those guys out. I might just go ahead and give those guys a rear charge real quick, just to support your sword masters. They are losing their morale here because of another flank charge by a few Hippeus Lancers. And at this point, the Germanic general is taking heavy flank fire from Celtic slingers of all units. This is terrible for Indypride. He's going to lose his general here. Now he did lose his general, so the Swabi are going to suffer badly. He's got a lot of Cimbri bowwomen though, and if they have enough ammo, that could be decisive. Carthage and Egypt, a closer fight than I thought it should have been at this point with those Ptolemaic cav free. His guy's in shield screen though here, kind of bugging out. He needs to take them out of the shield wall, and he should be cycling these Ptolemaic cav in and out, in and out. This is costing him a lot of Ptolemaic cav, and he's going to need those guys. Needs to get rid of the general's bodyguard if possible, though I imagine he's going to be trying to keep that bodyguard away. Got some sword masters back here, or berserkers that just tanked out a unit. What do we got left here? Galatian Royal Guard with 269 kills. That is impressive. He's actually still got pikes alive too. That's going to be good for him. Mercenary noble fighters managed to live somehow, but they are facing pikes head on. Indypride fleeing from the Massilian hoplite general. So he lost his general. He's going to lose more sword masters over here, though he managed to get decent kills on a lot of his sword masters. I think this rear charge is probably too little too late. He did get a headhunt here, though, so these guys are going to be unbreakable for the duration and get themselves a few more kills, last a little longer than they should. Rear charge doing a little bit of damage, but he might have just pulled those guys free to save them for a little later in the game, because obviously he's going to have to be doing some pretty serious kiting at this point. Egypt still has some cavalry alive here, and they've got this cav unit alive too. The Carthaginian general also still alive. The pike unit's now getting wrapped up on a little bit. When those noble fighters go by, though, Carthage has pretty much lost anything useful it has left. That mercenary Samnite warrior now getting rear charged by the Ptolemaic cav. It's going to do great. The Carthaginian general now, if they pin it down, definitely going to hurt enemy morale, but I mean, there's still quite a few Massilian units over here, and it's really going to depend on how much ammo Indypride has left. Got some axe warriors chasing out here. Probably no need to let these guys chase this far, because you're going to need all the units you can get at this point. You could even potentially use this little village, these buildings, to your advantage to tie off a flank. There's some woods here to hide in from the skirmish fire. So lots of terrain here that can potentially help potentially help Oakley pull this win out. Yeah, the Carthaginian player gone now. Egypt's going to get to help Oakley. There's 15 minutes of battle left at this point. Carthaginian general going down over here to Germanic scout riders. Of all things, I would have thought the Ptolemaic cav would have got those guys, but looks like the scout riders are going to get the pleasure. Scout riders are a nice cavalry unit for the Suebi. Not the cheapest cav, but they're not bad either. These axe warriors just bound and determined to get a hold of these spear levy. But now, this is why I wouldn't have let them get singled out, because now they're going to die needlessly. I mean, they are pretty much dead already, so not a huge loss for Oakley here. But you don't want to lose anything, I guess, at this point in the battle. These Ptolemaic cav could potentially play a decisive role. They need to stay very clear of these Celtic slingers. Ptolemaic cav don't really have a block chance because they don't have a shield. Let's check the bowwomen to see if they have their spears pulled. Nope. Still bows out on both those units, so they do have ammo. No telling how much. Same thing here. Both these units have ammo. If they did not, they would have spears out because they fight with the spear for the secondary. Galatian Royal Guard left here, 301 kills, very impressive. Galatian Swordsman with 190 kills, also extremely impressive. 226 on a Thorax Sword is very good. Lots of high kills for the Egyptian, which is important. 83 kills on a pikeman is just straight up nice to see on a pikeman. You don't see that very often either. Berserkers, Swordmasters, Hex Bearers, even with a few. Oh, a Hex Bearer. I did not notice this unit earlier. These units have a scare effect, which could potentially be absolutely devastating in the late game. He's going to want to keep those Hex Bearers safe at all costs, in my opinion. Keep them away from the skirmishers. Still 13 minutes left. Let's kind of fast forward here and see how this plays out. Looks like they're going to try and surround Oakley. Oakley's still staying in his very spread out formation. This is very interesting, the way he always plays this. It doesn't ever seem to have screwed him up too bad so far, but he always plays this way. And maybe it makes it harder to know where you want to attack him when he does this stuff too. I don't know. I'd be curious to see how this works. They're going to push in with pikemen. I don't know how much ammo his slingers have left. They have 137 kills, which is just downright impressive for Celtic slingers. Even 61 is decent for crappy Celtic slingers. Lots of mobility left for the Suebi. I mean, I would want to say right off the bat that this is going to easily go in the favor of Egypt and Suebi, but these Massilian hoplites are tough units, and there is 3 of them left. There's a Thorax Sword, several of them left too, a couple of them in decent shape. Celtic warriors have a nice charge, could potentially be a nice unit. These guys also have a lot of armor, probably would not be easily killed by bowwomen. Got a pike unit here. The slingers are out of ammo. They're coming up with daggers up. Yeah, so the slingers, let's check this unit. This unit still has ammo. Gonna be doing some pitching here into the bowwomen. Cavalry all behind Oakley at this point, so looking a bit nasty for Oakley. He's going to be open for rear charges here too, but it looks like he's kind of set up and ready to defend himself. He will not want to take the fight with these Berserkers and Hex Bearers around. You're going to have a scare effect here, plus another scare effect he can get hit with, plus a rear charge. Combine that with like losing decisively and it's over, but these Massilian hoplites have a great charge. These Berserkers need to charge. Yeah, he needs to charge with the Berserkers. Don't charge with the Hex Bearers. There you go. The Berserkers are in, the Hex Bearers are in. Let's see if he's got that scare ability handy. If he didn't, he really should not have charged those hoplites, because they do have expert charge defense, and you can see it playing out against the Hex Bearers. Gonna get a rear charge here, but it does not look like he has the special ability tipped for those Hex Bearers. That could be a big mistake. Massilian hoplites getting a fantastic charge here. They have a good charge bonus. This Thorax Sword is going to get obliterated. It's now singled out. Ptolemaic cav here. Better watch out. That's not really a situation they should be close to, in my opinion. The Hex Bearers were routed, and they did not get to use their... Yeah, they did get to use their Fear Effect Curse, but the hoplites were no longer being attacked in the rear, and they're not losing... It says they're winning the combat, so it's not going to be enough to rout them. Because of the bonus versus infantry, these Berserkers being exhausted and everything else, they are going to win. So this is the power of Massilian hoplites here. Very lucky that this odd formation of pikemen's actually holding those Thorax Swords at bay. But that Massilian hoplite, as soon as he gets behind here, these pikes are going to be done, but they're in okay position for now. This Massilian Hoplite, ooh, gonna take a nasty rear charge from Ptolemaic Cav. That's gonna be very good for Team Egypt Swaby there. Gonna lay in some pretty serious kills, but it's gonna take more than that to get rid of this Massilian Hoplite. In fact, I would not charge that Hoplite again right now, because you're just gonna lose horsemen needlessly. I would use those Ptolemaic Cav to destroy that Thorax Sword right now, actually. That would be where I would want to go with that. Stay away from these spearmen, and just go for... No, don't charge here. Too many Thorax Swords, and they're not fixed. And they're going to get shield wall. Yeah, this is not where he wants to charge. Probably should have brought those guys back and rested them, and then waited. This unit over here would have been ideal for that Ptolemaic Cav to kill. This unit, not so much. There was more of them. They were closer to friends. And they were able to get into the shield wall before the charge, and now they're going to kill some of your Ptolemaic Cav. Rear charge here. Gonna be nice to impart the penalty, though probably not enough to rout the Massilian Hoplites. They're a pretty nice morale unit. Now having to pull out could potentially take losses, but because of that shield screen, it will help him pull out with minimal losses. Still has 15 Ptolemaic Cav, and then there's still 11 over here. So those are gonna be clutchy units. Galatian Royal Guard here actually losing out to Massilian Hoplites in the end. This unit's got 77 kills. Not bad, considering what's been facing up with. It's now turning away from the Galatian Royal Guard, though, and these guys are going to get a few extra kills before they die. Only 18 of them left, though. These Massilian Hoplites are going to be tough to break with what they've got left, because they are very good against infantry, especially this light stuff. Because when it charges them, that expert charge defense is going to be brutal. Yep, rear charge into the pikes. Those pikes are going to die. So that's another unit off the field. Oakley is turning this around a little bit. Out with the spears now on the bowwomen. This one still has a shot or two. These ones still have some shots. These ones are spears out, so he's got a couple of shots left with his archers. A few Ptolemaic Cav left. Better be very, very careful with them. They're your only striking power left. The problem is that you don't have any heavy infantry at this point. If you charge these Massilian Hoplites, it's going to get reflected with the expert charge defense. I almost think what I would do if I were... And this right here is actually going to potentially slow cavalry down. No, if he's in the woods, it would. Let's see, Oakley kind of using these buildings a little bit to his favor once again. Let's kind of fast forward, see what's going to happen here. The bowwomen have a few shots, but see how he's getting behind the building? That's also very nice. It's going to give him guard from the line of sight of the bowwomen. Let's see. Using second wind, good choice here. Make your guys fresh. So you got several units. Oh yeah, he's just going to put his back to the wall here. This is going to be very difficult for the Swaby and the Egyptians to finish off. These Massilian Hoplites with their back to a wall are not going to die easily. Very sporting, though, here of Oakley to be potentially acting like he's going to charge out, because he really doesn't want to do that. I would be keeping my back to the wall, because I don't think they could beat you. If they had a way to rear charge, what you could do is take the spear levy, and rather than charging, just walk them into the Massilian Hoplites and then give an attack order so that you don't get your charge reflected, and then try and fly in with a Ptolemaic Cav. But these guys are badly damaged. This very well could go to Oakley after all this, which would be a pretty clutch victory for him to have been, honestly, so far behind in terms of units and then bringing it back. Early game just looking so good for Carthage and Egypt. Let's see where those bowwomen are firing. I wonder if they're trying to take out this thorax sword. Probably the best target, because you'd be firing into the shields of the Massilian Hoplites. Yep, more bow shots coming in, looking to get into the rear of these guys, no doubt. They actually dodged a few of those shots. Got a wavering thorax swordsman. Yep, so Oakley's going to lose that, so it's now just down to these Massilian Hoplites. It's going to really be a matter of how much ammo. Out of ammo for those bowwomen. These have more shots, and those are out of ammo. So, not much ammo left. Still could potentially be a close fight. This would not be good. Yeah, just get those bowwomen away from this. Run, run, run. That's what you'd want to do right here. Don't take that engagement. Nice rear charge, potentially incoming here, but if the general dies, is he already dead? Ooh, gonna get a few kills there, but I mean he's not gonna come out of that alive. So that's going to be rough, because that Ptolemaic cav actually supports the morale of nearby units. They did manage to rear charge that one Massilian hoplite there, very well done. But there's 2 left. Yeah, if this Ptolemaic cav routs, that's going to be rough for this alliance. And it very well could at any moment now, because it's exhausted. You may just want to stand it still and rest. That morale aura is going to be priceless. Oh, just charging it in. Don't do it. Too late. Too late. They're going to go all in. So the Suebi have come all in, but it is this Ptolemaic cav that's going to rout first, and I think that is going to bode poorly for the morale of the Suebi Egypt team. They have 1 more Ptolemaic cav left, a couple of Germanic scout riders left. These hoplites are going to hold very strong in the face of the attack of all these light infantry and archers. Now they're going to be forced to retreat, which is going to give more kills. But I mean, staying in combat wouldn't win it either. This Massilian hoplite giving chase, now going to be unbraced for a charge of scout riders, but the scout rider is going to do very little. They're too light to have a real impact damage on the Massilian hoplites, though it is a good try. Giving the spear levy another charge, though, not a bad plan. Won't do a lot of damage, but it did more than I thought. These bowwomen look like they're trying to get around here, maybe. More charges coming in. The Massilian hoplites, though, their morale is holding very well. Better than the morale of the Suebi and the Egyptians. Very heroic efforts. Now you got the Massilian hoplite general waving. If it leaves, this is going to get much closer. Wow, very close fight. Let's get down in here close up. More cavalry charges cycling around. Good cycling there. The Ptolemaic cav, I believe, is gone once and for all, which is very unfortunate for the Egyptian Suebi team. We have a very close fight here. The Massilian general did not rout, though. Wow. And this leaves just a couple of units. You got a spear levy left here, and that is it for poor Indypride. Wow, that was a close battle. It's going to come down between the spear levy and the 2 Massilian hoplites. Very nice battle. Massilian hoplites are solid units. Do not underestimate these guys. They can lose engagements, and they do lose engagements. They're pretty expensive, but they're a solid unit because they have an excellent charge. They have the armor-piercing spear, like it's the elite spear, and they get a +5 versus infantry. In a hoplite phalanx, their armor is also very good, their morale is solid, and their health is solid. So that's one reason not to underestimate these guys. Oh my gosh! The Massilian general routed! What the heck? So now you got 92 spear levy versus 50 of these guys. The spear levy wavering, though. Holy crap! I can't believe the Massilian general routed, but the general did not die. If so, may have tilted this game to what would have been an unbelievable swing of events here in the end. Getting into a hoplite phalanx here for the Massilian hoplites. They should win this fight. Now, I can't believe the spear levy is still in the fight. Triple chevron, though, 144 kills. Impressive for spear levy, and they're not doing bad in this combat. They're not doing good. That 30 damage spear, though, is gonna do the trick. Not much armor, though, on the spear levy, but I mean, what armor they do have should get penetrated. It'll be a close fight, but these Massilian hoplites' armor is gonna carry the day. I can't believe that hoplite general routed. That was crazy. So it literally came down onto a one-on-one. Very close there, very close. Nice game here. Definitely appreciate Indypride sending that in. It was definitely worth a watch. Lots of fun on that one for me. So Indypride getting a lot of kills here. Nice job on his part. I mean, just more kills in general going to the team of Egypt and Suebi, but look at the numbers. They deployed almost 500 men fewer each. So even though they got considerably more kills, it wasn't enough to make the difference. So some of their units, valiant performance, over 200 kills with 2 swordmasters, very nice. Good kills on the scout riders, good kills on the bowwomen. A couple of the berserkers definitely racking up a respectable number of kills. 2 of these spear levy picking up a respectable number of kills. For Granitor, good performance from these Libyan infantry. Okay from the noble fighters. Very nice here from those Samnite warriors. Very nice for the Balearic slingers right here as well. Let's check out the other 2 players. So Celtic Fury, very good kills on 2 of his Ptolemaic cav, one of them getting a triple chevron. 401 kills on Galatian Royal Guard is just downright awesome. And getting this many kills out of a Galatian swordsman too, that was just straight impressive right here. Also, very nice work. Thorax swords getting a respectable number of kills. And then for Oakley, 306 kills on a Massilian hoplite. Wow. Those guys tanked it up. That was probably at the end, though I'm not exactly sure. Oakley keeping his guys alive till the end. 218 kills. Pretty good for Hippeus Lancer there, too. Nice number of kills on that Celtic warrior as well. Hope you all enjoyed this battle. I know I did. Appreciate Indypride for sending it in. Go check out his channel. I'll have a link in the description as usual. And he's always got some good Total War videos for you also. And then I'll put a link to Oakley's channel as well. Obviously, he's also got a lot of awesome Total War videos. So, HeirofCarthage signing off for now. Hope you all enjoyed it.